Hello and welcome to the NextPowerUp review summary of Hitman Episode 1. This is the first in what is potentially like a 6-part series by IO Interactive, and it's published by Square Enix. And the general purpose of this game is to sort of get players back into Hitman, sort of give them, I guess, sort of an apology by way of what they did in Absolution, which was quite a linear, not a very Hitman style game it was just too arcadey for a lot of people's tastes. And to be fair, they were kind of right for the most part. So this game is taking a relatively different approach with the same sort of core sneaking stuff, but just refreshing everything. And it's got quite a heavy focus on the replayability value of the title. So because it's getting released in separate little chunks, you can buy the season pass for a discount or whatever. You're sort of paying $10 to $15 for a single episode, single level, but with a reasonable amount of replayability value, not by sort of goals that they've set you, things that they've designed into the game, but rather things that players have created. And that addition of player creation methods is a good way of giving it replayability value, and it's actually worked for the most part. Although my time with Hitman hasn't been fantastic all of the time. So the main campaign, the main story bit is forgettable. To be perfectly honest, they try and follow on the story and it's just bad. I mean, it's really weak, it's really bland and boring, and by the end of it, I'm not sure I really understood a whole lot. It just seemed like that generic big bad nonsense, and it was just bleh. But it didn't really matter too much because it's a Hitman game. It's all about that assassination and that challenge. The AI is awful, and that is one of the biggest crippling points of this entire game. The AI is just plain bad, and you'll see it from some of my screenshots, maybe even from some of the gameplay you're seeing at the moment. And it's just so cripplingly dumb at times, or just really tunnel visioned, and it's really frustrating because if it weren't for the AI, I would very happily recommend this game. Not necessarily for the campaign, but for the additional content, because the additional content is sort of where it's at when it comes to these little episodic bits. But the AI ruins it, because the AI is really stupid, very easily abused, and it's just bad at the moment. And I really hope they fix it. Otherwise, episode 2 to 6 will just no. The other thing is that they've sort of, the story is quite short. The game can be completed in just under 2 hours if you factor in the tutorial missions. Tutorials are actually really good. In that it only has one map for the main campaign. The first main mission is just one map, and that's all you get. So you have a couple of tutorial missions which take place in these two smaller ones, and then you've got the main big Paris map. And even though it's quite large, and even though they're giving you this illusion of you can do what the hell you want because this is just a sandbox area, it does feel like it's still a little bit linear. Like you can see things have been very, very blatantly placed in certain areas, and NPCs have these painfully obvious patrols that it still feels like you're being herded into areas. Fortunately, the AI is so absolutely, completely useless. You can sort of break their patrols and just do whatever the hell you want. Literally, you can run past them and then they'll just ignore you. And with only one map, the additional replayability is really quite good, and I'll go into that in a second, but you're in the same map and you're basically doing the same things over and over again. You do get some unlocks, and you can unlock drop zones or drop points or whatever they're called, but it's quite repetitive because you're just playing the same map over and over again, and eventually you find yourself going back to the tutorial maps because at least it's a change and they're different. The other annoyance is that if you're in the middle of a campaign, story, contract, escalation level or whatever, if you get dropped from the servers, if you're connected to the servers and you get dropped from the servers, you lose all your progress, and goodbye progress. That's it. Good. You can't carry on, and that's really quite annoying. I find DRM just insulting in the first place, but that sort of stuff really, really does take the cake, and I don't think it's necessary. So block the game in your firewall. Seems reasonable to me. Obviously, you won't get access to the player-made contract content, but you have to kind of juggle this thing as to which you would rather have: keep your progress and not rely on their servers, or get access to the replayability content. Kind of a really terrible thing that they're making you choose between. So these are a lot of very bad things which are currently making a potentially above average game just sort of It makes me tired because I really wanted to like this game, and there were bits that shone through, and I thought, you know what, that is really cool. But then the AI crippled it, and then the lack of map content crippled it, and the fact that the map still felt so enclosed ruined it a little bit. Now, the player-made contracts are fantastic. The whole contract system is excellent. It's like one of the best ideas these guys have ever had for a Hitman game. So what happens is, once you complete the main campaign, or even you could just ignore it, to be perfectly honest, you can take on featured contracts, which may have been included by the developers, or you can take player-made contracts, and these are basically people, developers or players, have chosen a couple of random NPCs who have names from the entire NPC pool, of which there's hundreds, if not 1,000 or something like that. And basically they've told you must kill this person, and then they'll set you optional objectives, like you must kill this person in this uniform with this weapon or by these means, throw a screwdriver at their face, whatever. And they are really quite good, and some of the players have come up with some absolutely insane contracts that are quite difficult to pull off, and then they give you little hints below the name, which is like, in order to pull off this contract, you must do this very dubious thing. And it's fantastic. It's one of the best pieces of replayability value that has ever been added to a game, and it just highlights the fact that mod support and player customization support is essential to making a game last that little bit longer. And so the contracts are excellent, they add tons of replayability, and it's one of the game's strongest points. It's just a shame that it's all sort of hampered by AI and the only one map. All the contracts are done in one map. Now, the escalation can be done in one of the tutorial maps, and the escalation is also fun. You do it the first time around, complete it, then you have to do additional objectives, complete it, then they add more and more, and it gets more difficult. So it's quite cool. And overall, the game is actually quite challenging, despite the fact that AI is stupidly just bad. It can be quite difficult at times, and you just sort of stare at a situation and think, I'm going to have to think about how I do this. And it's good. It's nice. It is better than Absolution by all standards. Even in the AI standards, it's bad, but it's still better. The level doesn't feel quite as linear, even though you do sort of feel like that glass was placed there for a reason. And, you know, NPCs are taking these very, very obvious paths. And, you know, I can see there are good bits shining through in this game. I just feel like if they addressed the AI just a little bit, just stop making it so stupid, stop making it so tunnel visioned, and if they start adding more map content, which I guess will come in episode 2 and 3 or whatever, but right now it just feels so limited. And, you know, the AI is buggy, and there's bugs here and there, and I broke one of the AI at this one time just by bumping into her. And you can basically complete every level by tossing coins, literally every single level. In fact, I think in this gameplay you will see me toss 3 coins as well as a fire extinguisher twice or something like that, even a crowbar at some stage, just because that's the easiest way to complete the game. Like, it could be challenging, but you can just fill your pockets with masses of coins and screwdrivers and throw them around the place and then just go rock people away. So yeah, overall, I'm not going to recommend it at this stage, simply because the AI is the big hurdle that it falls at immediately. The AI sort of ruins the immersion of it, and, you know, the lack of overall content. Yes, you can unlock things when you get certain challenges, and challenges are challenging, but it doesn't change the fact that you've not really got a lot. You've got plenty to play with, but not really much of an area to play with it in. And the people that you're playing with are all vegetables. So yeah, I feel like if they address those things, episode 2 is probably going to bring more content, more challenges, more unlocks, additional contract possibilities, a big shiny new map, hopefully more than 1.5 hours of campaign, I hope. And, you know, it feels like they've already invested in the story, so they're going to carry on that nonsense or whatever. Maybe it'll get better, probably won't. But, you know, it's better than Absolution. Whether you're going to base a purchasing decision on that, I would probably wait until episode 2 and see if they are intending on fixing that AI. So, you know, I had fun with the contracts. I had fun playing other people's designs in this developer's game, basically, which is kind of a sad state of affairs. So, hope you guys found this review insightful, if not interesting, and hopefully we'll see you guys on Saturday for our Next Week in Gaming article. I did mention that we would probably be doing an interview with Upstream Arcade this week, and I did do the interview. However, some rather interesting information came up which cannot be released as yet, so I'll probably push that interview back to next week. I'm kind of waiting for the developers to tell me when there's a go-ahead, because we got some interesting exclusive information. So yes, hope you guys have enjoyed this video, and we'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Whoa. Sir? Sir!